It was a late summer night when my friends and I decided to play a game that we had heard whispers about, the basement game. The rules were simple: gather in a circle, turn off all the lights, and take turns telling a ghost story. Each storyteller would try to outdo the others, aiming to send shivers down our spines. We gathered in my dimly lit basement, excitement mingling with nervous anticipation. As the host, I went first. I spun a tale of a vengeful spirit that haunted an old, decrepit mansion. My friends listened intently, their eyes darting around the room as if expecting the very shadows to come alive. As the stories continued, the atmosphere grew increasingly eerie. The basement seemed to absorb the tales, each narrative casting a darker hue over our surroundings. Goosebumps prickled my skin, and I could feel a sense of unease settling over us. It was Michelle's turn, and she hesitated for a moment before launching into her story. She spoke of a malevolent entity known as the Shadow Walker, a being that preyed on those who dared to enter its domain. Her voice trembled as she described its relentless pursuit, its whispering voice driving victims to the brink of madness. As Michelle's story reached its climax, a strange sensation washed over us. The air grew frigid, and a soft rustling sound filled the basement. I exchanged nervous glances with my friends, but we brushed it off as a mere trick of our imagination. It was Jake's turn next. He had always been the skeptic of the group, and he chose to tell a story about a cursed object, a seemingly innocent doll that held a malevolent spirit within. His tale was unsettling, describing how the doll would move on its own, its hollow eyes fixated on its next victim. As Jake finished his story, a loud thump echoed through the basement. We all jumped, our hearts racing. The source of the noise remained elusive, but a sense of dread hung heavy in the air. I could feel the weight of the stories we had told, as if they had seeped into the very walls around us. Determined to dispel the tension, Emily volunteered to go next. Her story was about a haunted painting that brought misfortune to anyone who dared to gaze upon it. Her voice wavered as she described the twisted figures within the painting, their eerie eyes following unsuspecting viewers. Suddenly, the basement grew colder, and a soft whisper seemed to echo in the darkness. "Release me," the voice hissed, barely audible but unmistakable. A chill ran down my spine, and I saw the same fear reflected in my friend's eyes. Panic gripped us, and we fumbled for the lights. The basement flooded with illumination, revealing a scene that made our blood run cold. The old painting that had been hanging on the wall was now empty, its canvas torn and frayed. Terrified, we fled the basement, vowing never to play the basement game again. The stories we had told had awoken something dark and malevolent, something that had taken on a life of its own. The memory of that night still haunts us, a reminder that some games are better left unplayed, and that the stories we tell have the power to awaken forces beyond our comprehension.